Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Big Nuggets Views. Okay, so we just finished reviewing the original Alien series. These include Alien 1 through 4. And now it's time to get probably a review that I've been not looking forward to say the absolute least. This movie was originally marketed as a prequel to the Alien movies, so explaining why the ship that led to the event in the first film, why that all happened. And this is 2012's Prometheus. This movie was directed by Ridley Scott after, and it's the first sci-fi film that he has done since he did Blade Runner. And yeah, this movie was originally marketed as a prequel, and it really disappointed fans of the series, as myself included, big time. And yeah, it just wasn't the best. I didn't enjoy as much as I was expecting to. I mean, all four of these movies, I was either too young or not even born when they were out for the Alien films. The only two films in either series taking place in this entire universe that I have seen in the theaters was Prometheus and Predators. I forget what year Predators came out as well. 2010. I mean, this one I saw with my dad at a movie theater not far from my house that my film was in, obviously. And yeah, that was a good film. And then a couple years later, we had Prometheus. This movie I saw in RPX, RPX with my mom actually. Funny story. My mom and I were originally going to be going to a movie theater, and she hates these type of movies. So the original plan was to have her go and see a different movie, and then I would see Prometheus, and all that stuff. So we were trying to go there, and we didn't know if we were allowed to, so we checked just to make sure. And because I'd seen all the other Alien and Predator films that come before this 2012 movie, I'm a huge fan of the series. As you can see, I'm really a big fan of the series. I've read a couple of AVP novels, 3 actually, and multiple comic books for the Aliens, and yeah. Sorry, I just checked on my dog. And so anyway, we were trying to see if I was allowed to, and they said, no, I can't, because I was too young at the time. I wasn't 18. I'm still not, but that's the point. And so she had to see the movie with me. We couldn't buy another ticket for her or whatever, so she had to see the movie, and she's still hanging over my head because of how grotesque this movie was at times. I mean, when I first saw it, this was 2 years ago now. Well, not even 2 years ago. It's been 2012. So, yeah, it's 2014 now, so about a year and a half ago. And she's still holding it. She's still holding a grudge because she saw this movie, and yeah. So the reason why I wanted to see this movie so much was because it was taking place in obviously it's taking place in the same universe as the Alien Predator franchise. Excuse me. And I personally prefer the Predator franchise over the Alien. Alien is still cool. I really love the second film especially. I think that's a very close tie between the second film and Predator for my favorite in either series, and believe me, it's very close. I mean, I don't know which one I prefer anymore. I like them both the same. And so that was why I wanted to see this movie so bad. And so I saw it, and it's okay, I guess. They could have done a much better job. Here's my main thing with it. Because I like I said, I've seen all these movies already. I am a huge fan of the series and everything, and I can deal with mild horror. I mean, I'm not like going to be throwing up at every single horror scene that I see in a movie. So, and I've gotten more used to this film the more I watch it. In fact, AVP Requiem, right here, they'll be doing a review of next week with the Predator films. That one came out well before this movie did, and anyway, this was when we still had cable. My dad and I, he had found it on I forget what channel. I think FX or something like that, and this is Requiem. The first one I already seen, but Requiem I haven't. Or I didn't before then, and now I like the film. But I was a few years younger, and I tried watching that movie with my dad, and I left the room 5 minutes into it because I was like, oh my god. But now I don't mind it. At an older age, and yeah, I Prometheus, I think brought up the gore a little more from Requiem personally, but then again, you can't really tell at first glance. But this is my main concern with this movie. Why the hell were the people in this so dumb? I mean, seriously. So I'm going to read for you guys the back of this. And the slogan of this movie was "Questions will be answered." At least in more of the questions. It does explain the type of species that the Space Jockey was, somewhat. In the first film, that was the thing that had the original hole burst through the chest that was in the chair, in the ship that they found in the first film. This is the first movie where they explain it. They have explained it multiple times in the comic books, but Ridley Scott turned it into a whole Origins of Mankind story, which I don't agree with at all, and that ticked off a lot of people, including myself. So anyway, here's the back. Legendary director Ridley Scott, who did Alien and Blade Runner, returns to his sci-fi origins in this epic adventure bursting with spectacular action and mind-blowing visual effects. I do agree with the visual effects, but other than that. And a team of scientists, explorers, travel to the darkest corners of the universe searching for the origins of human life. I understand why, but still how they do it, I'll explain later, I don't. Instead, they find a dark, twisted world that hides a terrifying threat capable of destroying them and all mankind. I mean, this film was originally marketed, like I said, as a prequel to the Alien franchise, explaining why the xenomorphs are there. People didn't want to see an origins of human life. We wanted to see aliens, like it was originally intended to be. But Ridley Scott scrapped the script a few weeks before filming and then rewrote it all, changing it. I don't know what it could have originally been. But it was not originally supposed to be an Origins of Mankind. It was supposed to be like Origins of Xenomorphs, basically. And one of the ideas that has constantly been brought up, I don't know if they had it officially in the comics or not, was that the Yakuza, or which are the Predator, yes, I'm using the technical term, the Yakuza created the Xenomorphs, or the Space Jockeys, who they call the engineers in this movie, either one of them made the Xenomorphs. And how they don't really explain it. I mean, they somewhat do in this movie, but at the same time they don't. Like this. So this is what happens. The android David, and spoiler. The android David, and like I said, I really love the visual effects that they have in this film. I recognize the actor who played David, but I forget where other stuff I've seen him in. Dang. Anyway, the android David, he was created by Wayland Industries, so you know it's obviously Alien Predator films. And anyway, there are these little cylinders that they find inside of what they didn't know was a ship at the time. They later find out. And, well, if you own the movie, look at the back. If you haven't seen the movie before, and you have a friend that may have seen the movie, look at the back of, look at on the back of the case, and you'll see that this main character, you can't really see since it's a little bit zoomed out, but the main character is looking at the this weird head thing, then these cylinders all along there. One of the android David, he took one of those onto the ship Prometheus, which that's where they get the name from, because and anyway, he took one of those and then infected one of the crew members somehow, putting some of this little liquid stuff into a drink. So he tampered with it, and anyway, this guy, he and the main character in this film, Elizabeth Shaw was her name. I don't know the actress's name though. Sorry about that, but let's say. No, it doesn't. Oh well. Anyway, Elizabeth Shaw, her boyfriend or whatever that she's been working with, fellow archaeologist of hers. They after he's infected, they get together and basically they do the hokey pokey, if you will. And they have sex, and they don't show anything though, so don't worry about that. And anyway, they so the next morning, he didn't know that he was infected, but the next morning he goes up, his eyes are red, and he looks at this mirror and he sees that something like is in his eye. He doesn't know what it is, and it's like some weird thing. It looks almost like a very thin teardrop about to fall out, and then it just comes right back into his eye, and it's weird. Anyway, so something happens to him. I'm not going to say what exactly because I don't want to spoil it too much. And later we find out that Elizabeth Shaw is pregnant. 3 months pregnant with something. Well, what? This had just happened the night before. I mean, they didn't have sex 3 months ago. They had it the night before that this happened. And anyway, so they find out that something's inside of her, and so she escapes from people and goes to this little medipop that you see earlier in the film, and this thing is about to burst, so it's almost like a chest burster. Okay, is it xenomorph? Is it xenomorph? No. And it pulls out this little squid thing that's really weird. This is probably the grossest part in the entire film, and what really when I first saw it. Anyway, the medipop does surgery and takes out this little squid thing, small at the time, and anyway, she's escaped from that before just trying to latch onto his face. And later in the film, a space jockey, this thing had grown to enormous proportions. I mean, huge thing. Ugh. And at the end of the film, and because we don't see what happens to the thing until later in the film, we find out that it latches onto the space jockey just like a facehugger from the Alien franchise. So what could this be one? And then at the end of the film, and keep in mind, Ridley Scott swore to God that there would be no xenomorphs in this, and again, this is a huge spoiler at the end. Unless you don't care, then continue watching, but if not, then skip about 30 seconds or so into... Just skip about 30 seconds or so from here. Anyway, after it comes off, out comes a fully grown xenomorph. Fully grown! So, yeah, but it doesn't look like a normal one. It's kind of different, so... Anyway, end spoiler. So, And again, and spoiler. But here's how they judge, like, oh, we should go and say hello because these great things have engineered us. They want us to go and find them and all this other random crap. What happened was, early in the film, they mentioned that Elizabeth Shaw and this boyfriend of hers, or whatever, they never explain their relationship. They just said that, hey, they must have something going on, or whatever. Anyway, these two, they, they're giving a presentation to the rest of the crew and explaining why the hell they're out so far away from Earth, why they've been asleep for 2 years. And they find out that, and they tell them that many archaeological digs throughout the areas have found these people, like regular-sized people, worshipping giants, pointing to stars. And so, and before they had even done this, we see that these two archaeologists had found one in a cave, like a while before they signed up with the Wayland Industries. They found it in a very, very old cave, like cave painting, and Elizabeth Shaw, she says, they must want us to come and find them. Which, what? You find a cave drawing and then you want to go and find these guys? What? You don't even know what is going on here. Okay, this, I don't know, it's just really weird, but anyway, they just go too much into philosophy in this film. It's like, and going back to when they're giving the presentation and saying why they're on this dust ball, to the rest of the crew, they say, when they asked, one of the people asked, what are they called? And then they said, they're called engineers. And another person asked, what did they engineer? They engineered us. How? From cave paintings, how can you tell that they would engineer humans? What? Just what? How can you tell from cave paintings? I mean, people have been painting pictures of gods and stuff like that, and I don't know. They just tried to go too deep into it, and they just really butchered it. And later, though, they do find out, yay, identical match to these big giant things, yay! There's no god. What? But who engineered them? And they just go too much into philosophy and all this stuff. And no, I don't like the way that they portray these characters. I do enjoy the effects. I think that these are mind-blowing special effects that they had. Avatar had better ones, but still. So, anyway, I don't know. They just had some things that were just like, what? But just put away all that other, like, all hordes of mankind. They say it too many times, though, so that's why it bothers me so much. They only say it a couple times during the film. I wouldn't have as big of a problem with it, but they keep going back to it. And oh my god, what? Why? How can you... From cave paintings, how can I be like, oh, they engineered us? From a cave painting. I don't know. So anyway, this movie, it's watchable. It is. I mean, I wasn't very pleased with it. I think that they could have done a much better job with the film. But like most other films out there nowadays, there have been talks about a sequel to Prometheus. And I really hope that they do make this sequel. And hear me out. At the end of the film, and spoiler again, we see Elizabeth Shaw taking off in another one of the identical ships like what landed on LV-426. No Space Jockeys in there as far as we know, unless for some reason they like make friends with it or something. I don't know. But anyway, never explain why. Hopefully it crashes on OV426 in the beginning, and then we're like, yay! But anyway, she's trying to go and find the Space Jockeys and learn why why originally they were going to, why they created humans and then wanted to destroy them afterwards. I mean, what's with that? That's basically at the end. But, so at the end of the first film, first Prometheus film, they're taking off into space and on the way to find out. And I hope that they do make a second film and then explain and have xenomorphs in it. I want to see a little bit Elizabeth Shaw fighting a xenomorph. Hopefully she, but I don't know. I mean, she's not really the type that would take on a xenomorph. Let's be honest. But now there was Ripley in the first film, so you never know. But I really hope that they like show them going to the planet. Here's an idea. I hope that they show Elizabeth Shaw and the remaining head of the android Bishop and part of his neck, I guess. But that's the point. I hope it shows them landing on a planet and meeting the space jockeys, and hopefully, I hope that they have xenomorphs in there and then like go into more of a backstory. But I don't know. I just really hope that they make a second film and then incorporate the xenomorphs more into it. Not just give little hints. I want them to continue this franchise and hopefully clear up a lot of the stuff that they left us hanging with. And go back to having a yes being in Origins. Or not Origins, but Origins of Xenomorphs, not Origins of Mankind. I mean, what? You can say that a couple of times, but I mean, don't have like some epic like, we created you, worship us, or whatever. I don't know. I want to see another film, but at the same time, I really don't. I think that they may actually ruin it, ruin what little that they have left. At the same time, I think that they can increase. So, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I just hope that they can work some stuff out. I hope they can figure out more ways to work with this film. I want them to go back to the roots. I want them to, or how about this? They do go and then they find the planet or whatever. They meet the space jockeys, all this stuff, and then there's an outbreak of xenomorphs on the planet. One of them gets loose, latches onto the pilot. The pilot, the chest presser bursts out, they crash on LV-426, Elizabeth Shaw is already dead, and yay, there we go, no more of all this other stuff. Because in the original Alien film, they don't explore very much of the ship. So could there be more space jockeys than what they showed? Or was there only one transporting this room with thousands and thousands of eggs? I mean, the possibilities are near endless of what they can do with the series, as long as they do something with it and don't try butchering it more. I think overall, this film deserves a 2 out of 5 stars. While I do enjoy it a lot more than Alien 4, Alien Resurrection, which I did a review previously on, I think that is nowhere near the first or the second Alien film. And as its own film, not regarding the aliens whatsoever, I think that if it was its own series and this is what started out the entire Alien franchise, I think that it would. I'm glad that they did a prequel, but at the same time, I don't. I hate it and I love it at the same time. It's hard to explain. So, it's a pick your poison film. It's very hard to do a solid answer for this. Probably 2 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I'm just going to go with 2 out of 5 stars. While it's better than the fourth film, I think that it's right around there with the third one. As long as you don't dwell too much on the fact that it was originally marketed as an Origins of Mankind. And yeah, as long as you don't do that, And actually, as long as you don't dwell on it too much, as long as it doesn't bother you as much, then I think that you would enjoy this film. I think that you could have much better... I think that they disregarded all this Origins of Mankind storyline that they had, that they would have had something very good and very solid. But at the same time, it gave them a reason to do this film. So, it's hard. It's very hard to make a judgment on what I would think about this film. So, I don't know. I encourage you guys to give it a watch if you are a fan of the Alien franchise. If not, I'd encourage anyone to give this movie a watch. Whether it's to get you interested in the Alien franchise, whether it's to learn more about theories or whatever you want to call it of Origins of Mankind, or you're just into films like that. It's an okay film, but at the same time, it's not the best, and they could have done a much better job, even with the stuff that they had with it. It just did it in such a way that they butchered it. They butchered the original idea. So, what can I say? 2 out of 5 stars, solid. Alright, so I hope you all enjoyed the review. Next week, I'll be doing a few more reviews all at once. I'm going to be doing the entire Predator franchise, Alien vs. Predator franchise as well. And if I have time, I will do it on... I'll do another review on the video game Predator Concrete Jungle. This is for PlayStation 2. And hopefully I'll be able to do that only if I have time. So I hope you all enjoyed this week, and go Hawks! Win the Super Bowl today! Woo!